Hi friends, welcome to Word, weekly passwords to the riddles of our lives. I'm Amichai from the Lab Shul community in New York City, coming to you live from the Harlem River, where I'm living and where I run. And today I want to share with you a question that has to do with the fluidity of identities and our names. How solid is the who we are and the names that we choose or people choose for us? So let's start with a question that comes from the news. Maybe you noticed that yesterday the Trump administration proposed that anti-Semitism is added to Amnesty International and to other organizations that deal with humanitarian aid. This has to do with politics and Israel and other things, but the question is really, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, anti-Semitic? Which brings us to the question of what is Semitic anyway, and where does that word come from? Let's open this week's Torah story, the second in the sequence of the annual rerun of the Torah, and look at the story of Noah. Yes, the flood, after the rainbow, the vineyard, the world begins again. Noah and his family populate and recreate civilization. Noah and his unnamed wife have 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Yafet. Those 3 are the progenitors of all of us. And there's been lots of ethnic, racial, misguided or well-informed or not decisions over the years to figure out who those people are and what does it mean to be one of those tribes. Shem becomes translated in Greek or Latin as Sem because they don't have the sh. So it becomes Sem, and then later on becomes Semitic. Semitic is a philological, language-derived way of thinking about the common denominator of the original peoples of Southeast Asia. Those include Phoenicians and Assyrians, Hebrews, and Arabs. So Semitic actually means something very different than Jew. And if you open the Merriam-Webster dictionary, you will see that that's what Semitic means. If you open dictionary.com, it does have Jew in the title. So what's in a name? Who is Shem? What is this ancestry, and how do we deal with this today? Well, Shem becomes a lot of things. Semitic becomes a lot of things. Identity is fluid, and whether it's Israeli or Jewish, whether it's Semitic or human, do we get to choose or do others get to choose for us? The riddle and the puzzle and the answer is in the name. Shem means name, as in, hello, my name is name. And Shem is the first human with this name, but not the first to be named. The first to be named as Shem with name is the river. In the second chapter of Genesis, the Creator names the rivers, and it says Beshem. The first thing to be named with a name in our tradition is a river, a fluid reality. So what is a name, and how fluid identities and who gets to choose? There's one river to my right, there's a river of traffic to my left, and in between we are identifying who we want to be. And maybe it's time to remember that identities are fluids. Our names are not as solid as we'd like, and often it's about us choosing who we want to be and how we want to be identified beyond the narrow confines of this ethnic or this religious or this tribal or racial identity. Let us be ones who choose again who we want to be with and how, because names matter and words matter, fluidity matters, and I hope that these words week by week matter. Thanks for joining me. Shabbat Shalom, and I'll see you next week, I don't know where, for the weekly passwords for the riddles of our lives. Shabbat Shalom from Harlem.